My husband is son of a Presbyterian minister. He was 17. He was in the high school. He should have been studying in the library, but instead he was reading the newspaper, and he read about the colonists coming to Matanuska Valley. He said the Lord spoke to him and said, who's going to take the gospel to them? We met missionaries who were going to Chitna, and they said we could come with them. So in 1941, we sailed for Alaska, and we were coming from a church meeting, and God spoke to both of us at that time and said, you need to start a camp. We were praying about this camp. 9 o'clock on a July night, full daylight. He came on in and he saw Index Lake. That's it, Lord. That's it. And we got 40 acres for $3.25 an acre. So we had kids for camp, and it was wonderful. We had a wonderful time.
Summer of 1966. I was teaching school, and I always wanted to come to Alaska, but never had any way, any thought that I'd ever get here, and so I prayed about it. I said, Lord, if you want me to be in Alaska this summer, you get me here. And we had a guy in our church who was been up here the year before as a program guy, and he walked up to me in February and said, why don't you come to Alaska this summer and bring a couple guys with you and work at camp? So after I pulled myself up off the floor, I said, sounds like a great idea.
I always say victory is home. I grew up in Glen Ellen, so about an hour and a half up the road. You know, I kind of grew up in a real solid spiritual home. I remember starting to come here as a kid and spent many summers on staff before God called us here full time.
When I came up here, I was not a believer, and I was very set in my own ways. And for people to know that, and then they chose to love me, I was blown away, and I didn't understand that. A few weeks later, all of a sudden it hit me that this isn't a love that any human could give. This isn't a love that you can find on this earth. This is a love that only God can provide. And so I became a believer up here.
Over 60 years ago, John and Nadine Gillespie had a vision for what became Victory Bible Camp, Victory Ministries now. So part of what we did was take time to rehearse. What was their original vision and passion? We came up with a verse that really solidified what our mission, vision, values is all about, 2 Corinthians 5:20, which really says that we are ambassadors for God, and to tell people, in a sense to beg people to develop a relationship. Scripture says, be reconciled to God. Out of that, our mission statement came, which says we exist to connect people of all ages with God through the ministry of Christian camping and conference retreats.
I believe that camp is much needed in many people's lives. Whether you're coming on for a retreat, or you're coming for summer camp, or you're coming out for horse ride lessons. It's a way to get out of your normal daily habits and encounter God.
Quite often we get kids that come here for camp that do not have any concept of horses. So using horses as a object lesson, it's not about the horses, it's about Jesus Christ.
I knew I loved just the whole camp atmosphere and what it was and how I felt like they brought me in as their family when I came here.
Everything we do is centered around relationships. The guest groups that we bring to the grounds, the reason they come is because they know us and we know them. It's very unique for me. I just had the experience of a guest group hugging me when they arrived on the grounds. It said a lot to me about what they think of victory.
We try to get involved in people's lives and kids' lives and try to make a difference in their lives as they pass through this place. Not mattering who it is, whether it's a summer camper, a guest group, or the UPS guy who drops off packages. You know, all those things are opportunities for ministry here.
I want to serve others and put others' needs above my own, and that's really the focus of Victory. And you can see that in the way that the staff here take care of each other, take care of the groups, and through that we really have an impact on the people who come through here, and they can really see Jesus
Yeah, one of the things that's been really neat as I've transitioned into this role of director is talking with people across the state that have a touch point here at Victory. Whether it was last year or whether it was 10 years ago, there are so many people in our state that have been touched by the ministry here.
When you're a part of Victory, there's this whole network of people who financially support you, who pray for you. They're simply a part of your team. I mean, my wife and I look at all these people back in Iowa and some in West Michigan and all over. They're a part of our ministry. I think so often people get caught up and get lost in the fact that, oh, they serve at Victory, so it's where they are and it's where they're at. But serving at Victory isn't just about being here on the campus full-time, day to day.
To me, one of the exciting things over the years was always the volunteers who came here, some of them for 2 weeks only in the summertime. But they would walk into that kitchen and say, well, I don't know a lot about kitchen work. Some of them didn't know a lot. But we would say, hey, we can teach you. We can teach you here.
God can use anyone and to do anything in this ministry. This ministry is so diverse, and God always just provides the right people to do these kinds of things.
God has really created an opportunity for me at Victory Ministries to really explore what I enjoy to do.
You may be that person that never has the opportunity to travel to a place like Victory, or never has the opportunity to spend time here. But God has given you other resources that are valuable to this ministry, and it's how it all ties together. It becomes this grand scheme of God orchestrating and God working.
I can't imagine my life without this ministry. I can't imagine not being part of something that is so full of God.
We believe in reaching kids. We believe in reaching people. Every person is worth reaching.
The ministry of reaching people and connecting people to God is part of the commission that God has given us all as children of God. If you find the place, the unique place that God can use you within our ministry, it will challenge your own spiritual depth and your growth in your relationship with God. Man, I want people to know that there's a place for you at Victory. There's an opportunity for you to be part of what God is doing.